Why do so many patients these days constantly second guess and ignore their physician and turn to pseudoscientific nonsense and social media for advice rather than listening to me, the expert? I don't understand and I'm so sick of it. Well, that's probably because for a lot of us patients, second guessing our physicians have literally saved our lives. And for a lot of us, social media has been an invaluable tool to getting the diagnosis and treatments we need. Especially when you consider that medical gaslighting and ableism is an almost universal experience of disabled and chronically ill people, and medical racism and misogyny is an almost universal experience of people of color and women. And as for the pseudoscientific nonsense and dangerous ideologies like anti-vax that y'all are always complaining about patients falling into, well, that isn't just because the patient is stupid or ignorant or crazy. It often stems from medical trauma and the distrust in medical professionals that trauma often breeds, in addition to patients not really being given room or space to actually process that trauma and regain some of that trust. So then you're saying it's all the fault of medical providers. I'm saying that medical providers play a very big role in the growing distrust of medicine and the growing number of people turning to potentially dangerous pseudoscience rather than seeking medical treatment. And I'm also saying it doesn't have to be this way. The only ones with the actual power to prevent things like medical trauma from happening are medical providers. And it's not even really that hard to do. All you really have to do is listen to patients, respect our consent and bodily autonomy, reevaluate where you might be holding on to some outdated and problematic beliefs about your patients, and check that shit at the door. And make an effort to listen to and uplift patients' voices when it comes to things like medical trauma, ableism, gaslighting, racism, misogyny, etc., etc. Even just working on one or two of these things a day with one or two of your patients would help insurmountably and eventually start to change the way you actually view and think of these issues. Medicine isn't going to be fixed in a day, but if we all do our part, especially as healthcare providers, it can be. I really just think it's social media to blame, and all of these crunchy mom and natural birth and anti-vax influencers. Well, yes, sometimes those influencers do spread really dangerous misinformation, and that's definitely something we should be talking about, but it's not the root of the problem. Those influencers don't get millions of views and followers in a vacuum. Where there's a supply of something, there first must be a demand for it. We need to look at what is creating the demand for those influencers. Because from the perspective of a medical trauma survivor and chronically ill patient, it's kind of starting to just look like medical professionals don't want to take accountability for their role in causing all of this. Because we've kind of tried to explain to you guys, a lot, so much, over the past years, why so many people fall into dangerous ideologies and turn to pseudoscience rather than seeking medical attention, and it just kind of seems like y'all don't want to listen. It's like we keep screaming into a void about how to fix this and things we can do to work on the problem, and you guys just kind of pretend you don't hear us. Why do so many patients these days constantly second guess their physicians and turn to pseudoscientific nonsense and social media rather than coming to me, the expert? Okay. Oh my god.